in Denver to begin our conversation about the issue of things that make you angrier than they should. And this, of course, comes most recently from the court case involving Raymond Davis, in which a fistfight ensued from a battle over a parking spot. Pearl, thanks very much for joining us. Give us a little overview into what makes people really angry over really small things like parking spaces.
Thanks for having me. Well, little things like parking spaces usually aren't really what's making that person angry. That could be the trigger or the last incident. But a lot of times, stress is the thing that builds up and escalates into an incident like the parking space. So we don't know what might have been happening earlier in that day, and the stress could have been overwhelming and escalated into an assault or an incident where somebody is hurt.
Pearl, do you think we have too much available to us, specifically in our cars? I mean, is it a case where you used to, if you had a call you were stressed about, or I don't know, whether it was a business meeting, whatever, it seemed like you had to wait till you got there or you were at least out of your car to deal with the problem. Are cell phones adding to this added stress during driving?
I think that stress in driving is definitely very common for a lot of people and can add up to road rage. I don't know that necessarily cell phones particularly add to that. I think our society as a whole, getting somewhere on time, rushing, having too many things going on, multitasking at the same time can add to stress, but not specifically cell phone usage.
Let me ask you in that connection, Pearl, because I think more of sort of overtly obnoxious behavior on the roads than any place else in my life. And it seems to me it has something to do with the anonymity of being in your car, that nobody really knows who you are. And you would never butt in line, say, at a restaurant, but you would have no problem doing it in your car. And when I say you, I don't mean you, of course. I mean one would have no problem doing that in one's car. And yet one would never think about doing it if you actually had to look the person in the face whom you're butting in front of. So I wonder, how much relationship do you find between anger, the expressions of anger, and a lack of personal identification?
Absolutely. I think, once you build a personal relationship with somebody, you want to be able to respect them. The same kind of phenomenon happens with text messaging or emails. You write an email when you're angry. It's very easy to push the send button. Not so easy to get that email back, recall that email. But, it also occurs, though, that our close relationships, people we are very close with, sometimes we have the most anger with in our personal lives. We teach classes here on relationships, and that's often one of the most conflictual places in our lives, in the close personal relationships that we have. So it's also that anonymity that lets us free ourselves, but also we're also very free with the ones that we love and we're very close to.
Do you have any suggestions for what people can do if they find themselves ridiculously angry over something for no reason, while in their car specifically?
Car, yes, absolutely. You can do anything to burn chemicals. So when you're angry, it's a very natural thing that's happening. Chemicals are released in your brain, and it's very important to burn those chemicals. So you want to breathe. Breathing is really easy, bringing oxygen into your body. You can do that in a car. You can do that anywhere. Clutching the steering wheel, can be really good. Screaming out loud in your car where nobody can hear you. Obviously, you may look a little funny, but it definitely releases those chemicals. So anything you can do to burn the chemicals that your body is creating. And then, of course, stay safe and legal. We don't want you getting into road rage accidents and, running somebody off the road. So breathing, burning chemicals, using things to calm yourself down, like, hey, this person might be on their way to an important meeting or on their way to the hospital, helping, use your self-talk, we call it, in your brain to help you cool down.
I just want to say I've tried the screaming thing. It really works, but it's really a good idea to close your windows before you do that. And just a personal tip.
My self-talk has an angry tone, so I try to shut that out.
Last thing, Pearl, and we appreciate your time. Do you have any specific advice if, say, let's just say hypothetically you were doing a radio show, okay, and there was somebody within 6 or 7 feet of you, and you just got sort of inexplicably angry at them? How would you deal with that?
I always start with active listening. So start by listening to what his needs are, what might be going on. And if you can de-escalate him by letting him know that you've heard him, that would help out a lot.
You know what, Pearl? What if the active listening was what caused the anger? Is there anything for Maybe just ignoring. Is that ever good?
The only person we can control is ourselves. So if you can focus on that, I think you'll be great.
A quick plug for your outfit, Pearl, the Conflict Center in Denver. People can use that. Is that a resource for people who need help with anger management?
Absolutely. You can call us. Our number is 303-433-4983, and you can sign up for any of our classes through giving us a call.
That's great. Thanks very much for the time. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it, too. Thank you again.
Pearl Bell of the Conflict Center in Denver. After the top of the hour, we will talk about it and take your calls. 303-713-8585. What makes you angrier than it should on 850 KOA.